The epilogue, after 10 weeks. 10 weeks ago, John was a 15-year-old who didn't put his hand up when his teacher asked who knew how computers work. He was there because his mum made him sign up. He was half asleep on day 1. This is where we find out what happened after the course ended. Not a dramatic transformation, just someone who now has a foundation, someone who knows where to start, someone who, when his mum's laptop breaks, actually opens Task Manager instead of just restarting and hoping. This epilogue is short, but it's the part of the story that matters most.
2 weeks after the final class, my mom asked me to fix her laptop. Normally, I just restart it and hope the problem went away. This time, I actually diagnosed it.
And what did you find?
A process called WMIPRVSE.exe was using 87% CPU. I looked it up, found it was a Windows management instrumentation issue, ran a couple of commands in PowerShell, and fixed it. Mom looked at me like I'd performed a miracle.
But it wasn't a miracle. It was method. You knew where to look. Task Manager. You knew how to research what you found. You had enough context to understand the fix.
I tried to explain it was actually straightforward. She'd already gone to make tea and tell my auntie that her son fixed computers now.
Which, to be fair, isn't wrong.
I'm not going to pretend I know everything. I know a lot more than I did 10 weeks ago, and I know enough to know there's an enormous amount still to learn. Networking certifications, Linux administration, cloud architecture, cybersecurity specializations, programming. It goes very deep.
It does. But that's not discouraging. That's the nature of a field that never stops evolving. The question isn't how much is left to learn. The question is whether you know where to start.
10 weeks ago, I didn't. Now, I do. I'm studying for the CompTIA A+ certification over the summer. You said it's the foundation cert for anyone going into IT support.
It's a solid starting point. It validates the fundamentals: hardware, operating systems, networking, troubleshooting, security. Covers 2 exams. After that, Network Plus or Security Plus are natural progressions depending on which direction you want to go.
1 month later, I ran into you in the corridor. You asked how I was getting on. I told you about the A+ study guide. You said, "You're going to be fine. You're asking the right questions now. That's all that matters."
And I stand by that. The right questions are everything. Someone who assumes computers are magic boxes stops learning. Someone who asks how they actually work, that person never stops.
For 10 weeks, I stopped assuming and started asking. Every answer led to another question. I used to find that frustrating. Now I think that's the whole point.
Curiosity is the engine. Knowledge is the fuel. Put them together and there's no ceiling on where you can go in technology.
To anyone listening or reading this, if you've made it this far, you're already doing the right thing. You're curious. You're asking. You're not just accepting that the black box works. You want to understand why.
Which means you're ready. The rest is just time and practice.
Keep going.
Yes, keep going.
From hardware to infrastructure. From a kid who didn't put his hand up to someone who diagnoses computers with Task Manager and plans to sit industry certifications. From it just works to understanding exactly why. If you've listened to all 10 chapters, you now have a real foundation in computing. Not a complete education that takes years and never really ends, but a foundation, a map, a sense of how things connect and where to go next. If you want to keep going, and I hope you do, the book's further reading section covers entry-level certifications like CompTIA A, network and security, recommended books for each topic area, and free online platforms including Professor Messer, TryHackMe, and Cisco Networking Academy. You've opened the bonnet. You've seen the engine. Now, go and do something interesting with it. Thank you for listening.